What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
You're dead meat! Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Welcome to the Dead Meat Podcast, an extension of the YouTube channel Dead Meat. I'm James.
I'm Chelsea, and we're engaged, and we like to get scared together. Hey, welcome back to our weird temporary set. A different temporary set. We kind of moved around, so we're just kind of sitting on the floor. This is like all the shelves that you can't see during kill counts.
They're just storage.
Yeah, but we're back. We still have our cardboard news desk.
This is it for real, though, at the apartment.
Yes, and
the movers are scheduled.
The next episode will be at the new place, which might sound exciting, but in reality, it's probably just going to be us sitting in front of a blank wall, so don't get too bummed. But yeah, we're going to do part one of a mailbag this week. We got so much mail, so many emails. Thank you to our assistant, Veronica, for going through all of them.
Thanks, Vern.
All right, here we go. So this is from Spencer. He says, hi, congratulations on the new house.
Thanks.
This question will directly relate to your situation currently, since you're moving in to a house. Which horror movie haunt from a house would you rather be moving into? So the options are: A, you realize you have a Pet Cemetery style graveyard complete with an old Maine accented neighbor, and you have to walk through a crazy matte painting to get to the Pet Cemetery, and you have to use it once. You can't just ignore it.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah. B, we start to realize our neighbor's acting real shady and you suspect foul play, a la Rear Window, and you have to investigate it. C, your house is haunted, but the ghost isn't evil or menacing for now. Or D, the neighborhood you moved into is full of highfalutin types, almost as if they're part of a higher class of society with a capital S. Wink, wink. Be careful. They might ask you to come over for a party to meet everyone. Love the pod and the work. Y'all do keep representing us Michiganders proudly and keeping good people. Thank you, Spencer.
Thanks.
All right, what are we thinking?
Pet Cemetery, we could just get another little Hoju, little hamster. And then when he passes, you bury him in. And then you just got a little zombie hamster. And, it sucks, but you can take care of that pretty easily. And then you could just got a Judd that you live next to. And that's kind of fun.
That is the appealing part of that one, is we would get to live next to Herman Munster.
As long as it's him and not the much more boring John Lithgow.
I would live
Judd
next
Crandall.
to John Lithgow also, though.
Sure, yeah. It doesn't have the same voice.
There was a tweet a while back where it was like, what's a random line from a movie you get stuck in your head and that you say out loud sometimes, and it's the Pet Cemetery remake. Oh yes, Church is a good kitty. I say that all the time to Lucy, and I don't know. I just love the way he says it. I don't know. I think a Rear Window type mystery would be kind of fun too.
Yeah, because then you're just problem solving.
Dude, speaking of, I saw yet another tweet. I'm on Twitter too much. Just the worst app. Just waste of my life. I'm trying to withdraw from it.
Oh yeah.
Big life improvement.
I enjoy Twitter.
You just got to curate it and
man.
And choose when you're gonna be on it. But there was a tweet that was a screen cap from Rear Window, and if you remember that movie, it takes place during a heat wave.
Yeah.
And the temperature on the wall is like 82.
They're like, oh, God.
Oh, good, another scorcher. Yeah. Oh, we got to call Sears.
That became Dr. Dugong real fast.
Dr. Dugong is Jimmy Stewart, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Pretty much.
What were the other options? It was I don't want the haunting.
Straight up haunted house.
I don't want that. And then Society, I don't know. That's messy.
Shunting is a lot.
If it were like a regular, like high class sex orgy, maybe we could talk about that and set boundaries somehow.
That's almost too real. That's almost too real life.
But when it gets to the, skin melting into it, it's too much.
It's a lot. Okay.
I'll just go with Rear Window.
Yeah, I
AKA,
think we could solve a mystery.
wasn't Shia in a movie that was basically a
Yes,
take on that?
Disturbia. It
I've never
was
seen it.
basically a remake of Rear Window. I saw it. I enjoyed it.
I enjoy
Also,
Shia.
that was when it came out, so I was, what, like 15?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, this next one is from Ripley. And Ripley says, hello, congrats on the move.
Thanks.
I had a question I've been waiting for a relevant episode to ask, and given the timing of the D&D finale, figured that this was a good intersection. D&D is our Dungeons & Dragons podcast.
Yes.
Go check it out.
We're on Spotify. Check that out.
Yes. So, would you rather play a campaign of D&D with the Leprechaun as a fellow player or with Jigsaw as the dungeon master? They will present no harm to your actual person, but to your characters, however. So I think it's just whose play style would we rather deal with the entire time?
Yeah, so Jigsaw as a DM sounds insufferable.
That would be... Because the thing is I personally, having played D&D for a number of years now, which is wild, the alignment system is something that I find simultaneously cool, but also really limiting. And I think that he would be the type of dungeon master. And what I mean by the alignment system is someone is chaotic good or someone is lawful evil. That I just think he would care so much about that it would be very annoying.
Yeah, my style of D&D is very loose and mostly just making jokes while the other players carry the story and teams. So I don't think, I think John Kramer is going to be too much of a stickler for rules. He's going to have those books and manuals out on the table and consulting them endlessly.
He's going to, that's the thing is our D&D podcast, and just in general, I find trying to stick to every single rule to be really boring and not fun at all. And at a certain point, D&D is just about improvising a story with your friends. You play it how you want, but he would be, I think he would be all about following the rules as they are written, and it would not be any fun.
And he'd work his personal traumas into the story,
yes, he
too.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's not good when someone's working stuff out. When you're playing D&D, it's just not. It's like watching someone work something out while they're doing stand-up. It's the same. Just, it's not great for anyone in that room.
Conversely, if Leprechaun's just another player, we can all gang up on him. Like the other players, we can just kind of like shoot his stupid shit down. And you know what? Just let him be the bard. Let him speak in rhyme.
He would be a good bard.
Right. Then you could kind of get into it.
Yeah, especially if you're a bard and you have your spells where you put on a performance. And he could actually just
could be like a Gaelic bard who just says his little...
He basically is a D&D character.
Basically.
Like you could... Oh, that would be kind of fun to do a D&D, maybe one off. No promises here. I'm literally brainstorming as we record, but it'd be so fun to do like a one-off D&D where we play as horror characters, because he would be like a gnome bard.
Yeah, he'd be my character.
Yeah, or I'm trying to like Pinhead could be like a paladin elf, or you could tailor it to.
That could be cool.
That would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to steal that idea, whatever. I'm sure it's been done probably, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Leprechaun.
Mm-hmm.
He might be fun, and also it's fun to drink and play Dungeons & Dragons, and he would get us all hammered.
Fuck yeah, he would.
Yeah. So cool. Thank you, Ripley. Lucy's here. I don't know if you can see her.
I think she's just off screen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's going to try and knock over this pile of cardboard boxes.
Don't do it, Lucy.
Shifting gears to a bit more thoughtful of a discussion, because we were just having this conversation with some of our friends, and I just always think it's interesting. And we get asked this a lot. Do you believe in separating art from the artist, or do you refuse to consume media from problematic creators? That's from Ian.
It is very much a case-by-case basis.
That's kind of where I've landed too. I honestly think at a certain point, we all just kind of have to accept that everyone is going to have different standards by which they feel comfortable consuming media or not.
I also think there's a big difference between personally consuming media and promoting or advertising it.
Yes.
I don't think anyone should feel bad if they like a piece of art that happens to be made by someone who is like objectively bad. Like if you like Jeepers Creepers, I don't think you should feel bad because you like a movie.
Yeah.
It was made by a monster, but like...
Yeah, you don't have to buy it or...
Yeah, that's a different thing.
There's always pirating stuff. That's cool and fun to do.
If that's a moral decision, then yes, that can be done. As content creators with some influence on the internet, that's a different realm for us, and that's why I will not cover Jeepers Creepers as long as that guy's living.
It's you know, as people who are more public and we content creators, TM, yeah, it's like a weird thing to navigate because everyone's standards for who is considered like quote unquote problematic are very different. Mm-hmm. I think ultimately we just have to kind of accept that. I don't think we're ever gonna come to a place where we all agree on a set of like acceptable behavior. Like, I don't know. And this isn't to say like, you know, we should be overly forgiving or whatnot.
No.
We also should just like everyone's gonna like I always use the example of like I find Roman Polanski abhorrent and I haven't seen like his newer stuff. I haven't gone out of my way to see. Same with Woody Allen. I never got out of my way to see. But like
Rosemary's Baby
is a gorgeous movie, and I actually put off watching it for so long because I was like, Roman Polanski. But then I watched it and was like, damn, like it is amazing. And same with his version of Macbeth. I think is like one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. So like it's hard. I don't even know if I have an answer for that. It's easier when also the artist is dead too.
That makes a big difference, I think, because then, you know, by consuming the media and even maybe covering it somehow, it's separate from promoting or condoning their actions. And then also there's no one there to benefit financially. Like right now, if we buy the Rosemary's Baby Blu-ray, I think Roman Polanski gets a cut of that.
I think so.
So that sucks. But then it's also like, because the industry is so, you know, tied up in things and it's so complicated, like any Dimension or Miramax film that we may purchase, I think part of that money goes to Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah,
still,
then we're starting to get into the argument of like, can we ethically consume any media?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's the other thing is people have been like, oh, you won't cover Jeepers Creepers because it was by Victor Salva, but you covered Scream. And like, that's different to me too, because Jeepers Creepers was written and directed by him, so that's more of a...
Yeah, that guy actually is a child.
Yeah, but I mean, Harvey Weinstein is also a certifiable monster.
Okay, I was like, wait, Scream? Okay,
yeah, it's a Dimension film.
I see.
So, but like when you're a producer, especially an executive producer, it's so different. Like he just gave the money to make it happen.
That's the thing is producers, especially when you're at like Weinstein level, and that's why there's so many movies made by the Weinsteins.
Or with their names in it.
Or like
fucking
fucking what's his face? Mnookin is like a producer.
Yeah, Steve Mnookin, yeah.
You look, he's all over all your favorite movies. It's very odd. But producers, it's like a weird thing where often you basically are just getting paid to put your name on it at a certain, you don't really have much,
or like you put up the money.
You're rich.
Yeah. But like it's different to me if someone wrote and directed. I actually was thinking about covering what is it? It might have been The Burning. I started to watch it as a potential kill count episode, and it was like, oh, I know Savini did makeup. It'll be real cool. And it said story by Harvey Weinstein, I think.
Oh,
and
weird.
So I decided, you know, if it's, to me, it's different if it's a director or writer who's done awful things as opposed to a producer.
Yeah, or
because
even
it's like a creative input.
Yeah, and sometimes even actors, I'm like, it's hard.
That can be difficult because you're like sitting there staring at them,
yeah.
even though they're probably realistically getting less financial reward than a producer would.
Yeah, it's not quite
it's
the same,
all
I don't
messy.
think. Yeah,
and then when you get to music, all rock musicians from the 70s have
Dude.
done some questionable shit.
Like Marilyn Manson just came out with a new album, and he probably a giant piece of shit.
Abusive.
I know Evan Rachel would have talked very openly about their relationship and how he treated her. I'll probably just I'll find a way to get that album for free. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give him my money, but also I love his old stuff, and that's from
Like
that's before I
metal.
knew, so it all sucks. I don't even have any answers. I'm just saying, like, I think everyone's gonna have a different gauge for what's acceptable.
And I think that if you're a private person who is not influencing the way people buy media, I don't think you should feel bad or guilty if you just happen to like something.
Yeah.
Just be aware.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's messy.
Yeah, it's not great, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't think there's a broad yes or no. We can separate art from art. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I think it varies from person to person, and I think the way to avoid this kind of shit in the future is creating an industry and creating a working space for artists in general where that kind of behavior is not acceptable. And like once it's found out that someone who is currently creating stuff is a bad person, we don't have to keep letting them
and not excusing it as like, well, but they're like a genius. There's so many geniuses out there, dude. We don't need to like prop up the ones who are also monsters.
I hope that eventually in the future the argument isn't necessarily like, is it okay if I go watch this movie because the person who made it is openly terrible? It's just hopefully that kind of person doesn't get that far in the first place, because there's plenty of other talented people out there who don't suck.
There you go.
So that's okay. I hope that all made sense. It's a complicated thing, but I wanted to talk about it. So thank you, Ian. Complete 180 again. This is from Justin. Hey guys, I saw that you guys are also Survivor fans. Since it's my favorite show, I had to ask who your guys' all-time favorite castaways are, and how do you think you would do if you played the game? Thanks, love the pod.
Okay, let's first lay out our history with it. You've seen more than me because you watched it back in the day.
So Survivor, I watched the first, handful of seasons as they aired. Like, I was very into it. I mean, everyone.
Did you see Pearl Islands when it aired? The one that we watched?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that was season 7. So
I watched
at least
I watched,
7 seasons.
But they also air like twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it a bunch, and my mom and her friends, ever since the first season, I think they only just recently stopped doing it. It's the same friend she plays euchre with, if you're familiar with that card game, if you're from Michigan or that part of Canada. They would do a thing where we all would draw a cast member's name and we'd all put money in. And my mom would put money in for me, so that I'd have a chance of winning. And if you're person won, you win the pot. I actually won. We played this for so long that I was in college when I won one time, and I paid for a bunch of books that semester with my Survivor winnings.
Nice.
But yeah, I love Survivor.
We watched the first season, which was my first exposure to it, probably 4 years ago now.
It was the same summer as Pokemon Go. I randomly remember. So
well, then that'd be 2016. Yeah. Okay. So we watched that first season together, then we watched season 7, Pearl Islands, and those are the only 2 old seasons I've seen, and then we picked it up contemporaneously or whatever with Ghost Island?
Was it Ghost Island?
Because we've done like Ghost Island, which was pretty meh. I hated how kind of set in stone the winners were from
Which
an early...
Which season was Donathan?
Donathan might have been Ghost Island.
Donathan, friend of the pod, who loved Donathan.
Yes, but that was the season with Wendell and Dom, right? Who just dominated it the entire time. It was really boring. And
Donathan tried to knock them off their pedestal, and more people should have gotten on board.
Then there was David versus Goliath, which was a masterpiece.
One of the best seasons of
fucking
TV I've ever seen.
Incredible. Yeah. There was not Ghost Island, but the other island.
Edge of Extinction,
which was fine, but then Chris came back in the end and won it, and that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
And then there was Island of the Idols, which was pretty good, but is that the one with Kelly and Dan?
I don't remember.
I think that was the one with Kelly and Dan, which was very complicated viewing.
No, that was.
I think it was. And then the very last one that we watched, was the one that
All-Star, like
All
the winners.
Stars, and that one got interrupted by COVID, and that's why there's not one this season for the first time in so long.
Yeah.
But with the All Stars, I didn't know most of those people, but it was fun to get to know them.
I knew some of the old school winners, but besides that, no.
I mean, from David versus Goliath, Christian was, of course, like.
Oh my God.
A lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that season's amazing.
That season was so good.
I love Rupert forever and ever from Pearl Islands.
Yeah.
Tie-dye Island hippie, like works with troubled youths in real life. Rupert, just the best. I mean, I remember that first season, everyone loved Rudy and his. And like, that's the thing is I think people now, if you look at that, if you just went and watched that season, it would not strike you as remarkable in any way necessarily for Rupert, he was this old like
Rudy.
I'm sorry, Rudy. He he was like what in his 60s or something on that show.
He only recently died.
He just recently died, and he was a retired vet, and he became close with
Richard Hatch.
Yes, Richard Hatch, the winner of that season. Who is gay, and Rudy had kind of it was kind of some nice real life character development where it was like, and this is the early 2000s, and
it's 2000.
It was different times back then. I mean, you know, it's like that was such a big deal for so many people to be watching that happen on TV, and I think that was like a really important television moment, even though now it just seems so like minimal. But I don't know. If we were on Survivor, how do we think? It
is a goal of mine to go on Survivor. I very, very, very much want to go on Survivor. I think I would fucking kill it. Also, I don't even need to win. I just need to make merge. If I'm out before merge, I will never forgive myself. I just want to get on that jury. I want to hang out at Ponderosa. I want to fucking just let me be the physical challenge helper, help my team get through it, and then go ahead and vote me off, whatever. I'll try my best at the social game, but I don't know.
I think I would have a harder time getting to merge because I would suck at all the physical challenges, and also I'm just a giant baby in terms of like I hate camping, I hate being cold, I hate being wet, I hate being like I just the actual Survivor part of it, I would be so miserable that I don't think
you might like be so miserable that it might be a little testy around camp.
That's true. I would be really annoying to deal with. I always wonder like how accommodating they are of people who like for example, I'm allergic to all of nature. I have really bad asthma. There's so much that I would have such a hard time. I wonder how much they accommodate for, but I think if I made it past merge, I would kill it. I'd be so good at the social game. That is extremely my shit. I in general love party games that involve like social manipulation or lying or bluffing or like hidden identity games. Like I am the undisputed master in our group of friends of like werewolf and like Mafia and Salem and all those games, to the point where James looks at me differently when we play those games. I'm very good at them. It's one of those things where while I'm playing those games, I'm like, it's a good thing I have a pretty good conscience and I'm not like, if I was a giant piece of shit, I would be like the most evil, manipulative person ever. It's just like those games are my safe space to do that because there's no actual real life consequences. But Survivor, I feel like I could flex that same instinct. And
see, my strategy would be get everyone to like me. But like that's a danger, is it, You can't
get everyone to like you too fast. I think you have to chill, be pretty decently helpful throughout. I'm
good at that though. I'm good at hanging back when I need to and taking control.
But that's why I think so many winners they seem so random because I think there are people who do kind of hang back for a bit, and it's like, what? Like this person won who didn't even play that crazy of a game.
I want to go on Survivor.
Yeah. I would support your Survivor journey. You get all island hot. Everyone gets island hot on Survivor. It is wonderful just seeing just being on an island and all you have is like ocean water to bathe with. Or everyone just looks so good. Everyone looks like Hollister models after a while. Hey, our first sponsor this week is Shudder.
Shudder.
Oh, Shudder. So Shudder, because we're getting down to Halloween time, Shudder's getting a little extra
spooky.
This season, they, instead of 31 days of Halloween, we're doing 61 days of Halloween.
That's so many days of Halloween.
We deserve. We do. It's a 2-month-long celebration of our favorite season, featuring weekly original and exclusive movie premieres. So they're getting Color Out of Space with Nicolas Cage, the second season of AMC's Nosferatu, Glenn Danzig's Veronica, which I've been meaning to watch, so I'm excited about that. Scare Me, starring Aya Cash, and I guess 61 days of daily recommendations from Shudder curator Sam Zimmerman.
Nice.
So that's what I love about Shudder is the curation and the thought put into what is offered on that streaming service.
It's so good. If you feel like you've seen all the horror movies, especially the mainstream ones, and you're just like, I want something new, Shudder will have it.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you. It'll guide you and point you in the right direction of something just suiting your mood. It's so good.
Yeah, it's truly run by people who love this genre, and it shows.
Like, you go on other streaming services, other ones, and for a horror movie, and you look them up, and the selection is garbage, and it's just giving you the stuff that you've seen before. And Shudder's got the good stuff, man.
Yeah. Truly, you think you've seen every horror movie? You haven't.
No, you
no
have
one
not.
Has. No one has.
Except for Joe Bob.
Except for maybe Joe Bob.
Who was on Shudder.
Yes, exactly. So if you want to try Shudder free for 30 days, if you want to get in 30 of the 31 days of October for free, and you have Shudder for most of your Halloween season, you can go to shudder.com and use promo code DEADMEAT30. So that's Shudder, SHUDDER.com. Use promo code DEADMEAT30. Our other sponsor this week is Upstart, a lending program for smaller loans. Like, they go from $1,000 to $50,000. The reason that I feel comfortable sponsoring them is they are not so reliant on just your credit score, which it's a scam that
other countries don't use.
Yeah, I learned that we are unique in having credit
Canada
scores.
does it too, but that's because we rub off on them sometimes.
Yeah, we're a bad influence on our neighbors. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And credit can be absolutely detrimental to people's lives, especially if, maybe you happen to have bad credit, but you just want to get a loan to start a small business. Like, you want to you want to work and do stuff. Or maybe if you want to go back to school and school is expensive. Actually, I think a lot of people use Upstart for that. I saw when I was looking up. I did my research to make sure, because any money type stuff, I always do my due diligence. And I guess a lot of people just use this if they want to attend another like online courses or stuff like that, which is why I, felt comfortable talking about Upstart. But yeah, so they'll take your credit score into consideration, but they also will take in your education, job history, other factors. And when they check your credit, it's a soft pull, and it won't affect your credit score.
Yeah, which is great because our credit score system is like, hey, do you need to have your credit score checked? That's going to hurt your credit score.
Yeah.
Cool.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
What?
Yeah. Anyway, so that's why I wanted to do this live for Upstart, because I thought that was kind of neat that this was a money lending program based on, if you just want to get a quote, it's not going to ruin your credit score.
There you go. And if it does get approved, you'll get your funds the next business day in most cases. Wow.
Yes. So, it also has a 4.9 out of 5 rating on Trustpilot, if you're curious. Good reviews of the service when I looked it up. So,
nice.
If you want to see how low your Upstart rate can be, oh my God, I'm getting a Charlie horse.
Oh no.
Ow!
Oh no. Yeah, if you want to see how low your credit
upstart.com/deadmeat. And checking your rate only takes a few minutes. It takes just as much time as I just had a Charlie horse. Go to upstart.com/deadmeat. Your loan amount will be determined based on your credit, income, other information. Not all applicants will qualify for the full amount, FYI. But yeah, upstart.com/deadmeat. Ow. Let's see. This is from Riley. Hello, James and Chelsea. I'm a senior in high school. I only started watching horror movies about 3 years ago, and I've learned a lot about horror movies from this channel. I'd like to ask what your favorite schlock/camp horror movie that you think are genuinely good. My picks would be Terror Vision, Curtains, Night of the Comet. Well, I love
Night of the Comet's great.
House on Sorority Row, and Frank Henenlotter's Brain Damage. If you can't read this on the pod, don't worry about it. Well, we are, so.
I mean, I think
Riley.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space is like the ultimate B movie.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so funny how Killer Clowns is often mentioned on like October lists of like, here's some so bad it's good horror movies to watch. And that Killer Clowns always gets put on those kinds of countdowns, but it's not bad.
I don't think it's bad.
It's genuine. Like it knows.
It's funny. It's scary. The clowns,
the clowns
are fucking scary. The effects are incredible.
Yeah, and the gags and jokes are so clever and cute, and it just like it is one of the rare movies I think where it's trying to be a B movie and it succeeds in that. Because I often say on the podcast I hate when a movie is trying to be a bad or a B movie or a bad movie, because then that effort to me kind of ruins any, it's too deliberate. But Killer Clowns actually does it, I think, because even though it's supposed to be campy, it still to a point takes itself seriously within the silliness of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good one. Yeah, Night of the Comet is a lot of fun too.
Toxic Avenger has some. It's something.
Toxic Avenger, man. That we reviewed it on the pod, but it was so long ago. Like the first 10 minutes of that movie are, I think, some of the funniest. Like it's the world that it sets up is so fucking funny and good. But then the next 10 minutes is like way too real. Like it's these people like running over a kid in the road and
like
taking
close-ups on a kid's head getting run over. It's fucked up, man.
I didn't think it would be like that.
Yeah, trauma movies in general are like have parts that I really enjoy and then parts that just go way too far.
Or it's just too much.
Basket Case I really love.
Love Basket Case. I think a camp type movie that is genuinely extremely good, and we always talk about it. Reanimators, genuinely so great
for sure.
The writing in that is so good, the humor, everything. That's in my top 5. And it's weird because the first time I watched Reanimator, I was
you were lukewarm.
I was really on the fence about it.
I think before Dead Meat, or maybe right at the start of it. Yeah, before like horror movies were like such a big part of our lives.
And I just remember thinking, I just never seen it. Yeah, it's weird. That was before Dead Meat.
Yeah,
that's bizarre. Yeah, and also Anaconda. Good. And we did a commentary track for it, but The Car, still obsessed with The Car.
Oh yeah,
for a campy schlocky movie. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's good.
Absolutely perfect. This next one is from Bo. Bo gave us a few would you rathers, but I like this one. Would we rather adopt the kid from Brightburn or the kid from Better Watch Out?
Oh, fuck.
I know, that's hard.
Because you said Brightburn, I was like, well, whoever the second kid is, I'm going to adopt him.
No, but dude, that little shithead from Better
Watch Out.
By the way, if you have not seen Better Watch Out, I was kind of blown away by that movie.
I think it's one of the best. I think it's one of the best horror or holiday horror movies for sure.
Yes, it's so
I love it.
Good.
It's so fucking good. It's like, I know that they're very different in tone, but just because of the characters and their relationship, it's linked to The Babysitter in my head. And it's just, I dislike The Babysitter movies so much, and Better Watch Out is so good, and so many more people know about The Babysitter. I'm just like, no, go watch Better Watch Out.
So good.
I don't know, man.
That's hard.
Like, Brightburn's way more
Brightburn is like adopting a nuke, like a sentient nuke as a kid. So that's tough. The kid from Better Watch Out is like adopting. Oh God.
I mean, he's a psychopath.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, just sociopath. Like he's like adopting a tiny Patrick Bateman.
I think you might be able to make more inroads with Brightburn.
Oh, God.
I think, like, you take the perfect parent, not saying that we would be, but just a hypothetical perfect parent. I think they could maybe keep Brightburn under control, maybe, but then I don't think they could with the Better Watch Out kid. Because,
But at least the Better Watch Out kid doesn't have magic powers.
I mean, either kid, I'm trying to kill him.
I know. I'm finding a way to like make sure they have some kind of accident.
Yeah,
they're just a danger to humanity.
They are. Better Watch Out kid's easier to kill. Pick the kid you're gonna adopt based on how
murder.
easy. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I think I might have to go with Better Watch Out.
Well, you know what? I'll condition my answer on this. Does Brightburn Kid have to exist in this world? If so, I think I could do a better job.
Oh, well, like if you don't,
if I don't, someone else will get him.
Oh, Jesus.
I think I'm in the upper 50% of parents who would be able to maybe keep him calm and under control. So, given those numbers and odds, I would take him under my wing just to avoid him winding up with like parents who couldn't handle him and then he's flying around destroying buildings. But if I choose Better Watch Out Kid and just Brightburn Kid doesn't exist, I'll take Better Watch Out Kid.
It's basically like, which one would you want to adopt to ensure that whoever adopted the other one isn't the kind of parent who would just leave them unattended on 4chan all day? Because neither of those ends well. Yeah, that's tough. That's
real
I
tough.
Picked that one. So, all right, I guess Better Watch Out Kid.
I guess.
We can send him to, like, I don't know.
Jail.
Jail. This next one is from Caden. Hi, James and Chelsea. If you were to ever make a horror movie, what would it be about? Would you guys be in it? And would Lucy make an appearance? I mean, I would love to make a horror movie one day, and I think I've mentioned this on the pod a few times in terms of just like aesthetics I love and subject matter. I really want to make a horror movie with truckers and trucks. I have ideas bouncing around, but I'm very like I'm not a writer. I'm not a screenwriter. I find screenwriting extremely difficult. I can come up with a basic like an elevator pitch for something.
I'm the opposite, and I don't know why we haven't.
I know, we need to,
combined powers.
It's funny because I think there's sometimes where we as a couple will just, I think, be like, I need something to work that's like my own thing. Mm-hmm. But then we realize we could just work on this. It's yet another thing we could just work on together. Yeah.
The best idea I've had for a movie is actually one that like is good enough to where I don't want to share it.
Okay.
It's the only good idea I've had. Like, it's not, I wouldn't even call it an original idea, but an original twist on an idea that, like, I came up with, and I was like, oh, that could actually work. I just got to find the time to do it.
Yeah.
Kill counts take a lot of my time, man.
Yeah. I do have, like, a concept for a trucker-based movie that I'm not gonna, like, I'm sorry, not gonna share it, but I think an aesthetic I would love to explore, and if I made more than one movie, they would all be like I love John Carpenter's running. We were talking to our friend Mike Doherty on the podcast. We were talking about John Carpenter's like working class aesthetic and his like proletariat horror movies, and I just want to walk in those footsteps. I think it's such a cool, like, we don't get a ton of that anymore. 'Cause as much as I love horror movies where it's just all these very tortured, wealthy people, like Hereditary is this beautiful giant house. And like, it's very like, I don't know. I just would love to do a 180 from maybe what that trend is right now and explore, or like get out as like wealthy people and be cool to do something a bit more grimy. Yeah, John Carpenter style.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess that's all I'll say about that. I guess Lucy can be in it if she wants. I don't think she'd be a very good actor.
No, God, no. Are you kidding?
She doesn't.
She would be the worst.
She would not be a very good actor.
I can barely get her in videos.
I've been on set before where there's an actor cat. It's really impressive. It was on a sitcom I was working on, Friends of Better Lives, if you want to watch the 2 or however many episodes that came out before it got canceled. There was a cat in one scene that they had to direct to like they had to jump on the bed and then pretend to jump out of a window. We were filming in a studio, but it looked like they were jumping onto a tree, and this cat it was like a circus. It did everything it was incredible. I was amazed. Actor
Lucy
cats.
is way too spoiled.
No, she would never. Let me see here. Okay, this one is from Kelly, and Kelly says, she thought of a good would you rather after binging our pod this week driving home for Labor Day, 10 hours in the car. Yep, done that before. I do love driving. Like a road trip. Love a good road trip. Would you rather get stranded in the middle of the ocean like in open water?
Nope.
Or get stranded in the mountains during winter like the Donner Party? That's tough. Because those both suck.
I mean, you're dead either way.
That's the thing is, I think you're just dead. So it's like, how do you want to die? Both of those are not great. I think I might have to pick mountains.
Doesn't hypothermia, you end up feeling okay at the end?
I think that's the thing.
Relatively.
Where you just, your nerves, you just, like you feel warm and then you're dead.
Maybe that then.
I might have to pick that because at least with the mountains, I can pretend I'm trying to find my way out.
That's
I can
true.
use the sun. I can walk and think, okay, maybe there's a chance I'll come upon some food or something. Whereas the ocean just feels...
it's endless. And like open water in the dark is terrifying.
Yeah, no. That it is scary.
Like when the Titanic's going down, the lights all go out. Fuck that.
It's so scary.
Yeah.
I would love to just tangent, but that whole basically the second VHS of Titanic where the ship is going down, I would love to just rewatch that bit because I feel like just that whole sequence is a good horror movie.
I bet.
Because it scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Oh yeah.
All those chunks of ice like just flying down the deck and people are going into the rotor, like don't people fly into like the
smokestack falls on people? Is that what you're thinking? I think that falls on his buddy.
Oh man!
But then other people are like locked in the third class.
That's one of my. I'm very scared of drowning also. So I'd have to pick mountains. I think. Isn't it weird how? I think we've talked about this before, and probably even at Drunk Disney, which is why I don't remember. When schools have school carnivals and stuff? Do they still offer the inflatable slides that are shaped like the Titanic?
We never had those at our
We had that every year.
The only time I've seen that is in friggin' Branson. That's the only place I've seen an inflate like a giant Titanic
Well, they have a
slide.
Titanic museum in Branson, don't they? I think they have a very large Titanic museum there.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's a thing. I'm sure. I bet companies still rent that out, or you can slide down. It looks like when the Titanic's sinking and it's sticking up out of the water, you can like slide down it. It's so fucked up. I can't think of any other horrific disaster where you could turn it into an amusement park ride or
it's not like you go Hindenburg skydiving.
I was gonna say or like a Hindenburg, like a drop tower. Like there's not. I can't think of any other. Like it's such a. I think just because it was such a big movie, and it's like, well, we're taking this imagery from the movie. Let's see. This next one's from Rhiannon. She asks, has a film ever given you nightmares or been too intense to finish in one sitting? Rhiannon says that they had to walk away from Untraceable during one of the death scenes. I didn't finish Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, but that's because it was disturbing. Like, is that what it said? Disturbing?
Or just, yeah.
Because it wasn't like scaring you.
No,
But it was just
gross.
One time you were out of town and I started Creep late at night. Not entirely sober, and as soon as fucking Peach Fuzz came on the screen, I was like, I'll finish this tomorrow.
That movie's, very scary.
I still need to see the sequel.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Is that still just, it's found footage?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
All right, yeah.
I think that's about it. I remember being pretty. Another one that I watched while you were out of town one time was The Strangers, and that also was scary.
That's a horrible movie to watch alone.
It was, yeah. I wouldn't do it in a house. In an apartment, it's different because it's like, okay, we're in a building, no one's really gonna be coming in, but like, we're about to move, and I think that might change the game on like when I watch certain movies, you know. Yeah.
Because when you're in an apartment, there
are layers.
Yeah.
There are layers of protection.
It's creepy. I think the first time I saw Wreck, I didn't.
Wreck's fucking terrifying, yeah.
I mean, I eventually watched the whole thing. It scared the shit out of me. But that one, I just, the amount of dread I had watching that movie. This one's from Andrew. Hey, James and Chelsea, love the channel and podcast so much. Thank you guys for all that you do. Thank you, Andrew. Andrew says, Neve Campbell confirmed on her Instagram that she's returning as Sidney Prescott for Scream 5. Courtney Cox also confirmed, and David Arquette. Radio Silence is confirmed to be directing the film. Friends of the pod and channel in general. One Scream fan to another, I was wondering your thoughts so far on Scream 5. Are you optimistic about Radio Silence and the returning cast members? Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's such a weird thing now to be doing what we do and having a lot more access and opportunities to meet people who work in horror and befriend people who work in horror. And that ultimately does change how we're going to feel about something. You know, I'll be straight up about that. Like, I have no idea how I would feel about it if I did not know the Radio Silence team and think that they were really cool and talented.
But also they did Ready or Not.
Yeah, and Ready or Not is so...
Ready or Not may be my favorite horror movie of 2019.
Yeah.
The Lighthouse is, I think The Lighthouse would probably... Yeah, I know. For me, I think Ready or Not, as much like Midsommar is definitely not in contention for favorite for me. Yeah. Lighthouse is a bit, but like Ready or Not.
It's so good.
It's so good in so many ways. And so even had we not met them and had them over this apartment for a podcast episode, I think I would have some faith in them. I am optimistic because of them. I didn't necessarily think that we needed a Scream 5, but I also didn't think we needed a Scream 4. And in retrospect, Scream 3 probably wasn't even necessary. I mean, the first movie is in my top 5 horror movies of all time. It's weird to have one without Wes Craven, but again, with them directing, I am optimistic about it. I would like to see Dewey or Gale get killed. I would not like to see Sidney Prescott get killed.
Leave Sidney alone.
Please, dear God, do not kill Sidney
so
Prescott.
Much.
Yes.
I can't stop thinking about how much that she's been through and like just let her be.
She is one of my favorite final girls of all time and just horror characters in general.
She's one of the most traumatized final girls of all time.
Please do not kill Sidney Prescott.
Yeah.
Please, dear God.
I also wonder how much of the new Scream is going to be commentary on the fact that people can just continue a franchise without its original author and...
Because 4 like touched on reboots.
Yeah.
That was kind of what it was talking about, because it was essentially a reboot of the series. So I am curious as to see what 5 focuses on, because it's got to have some kind of meta contextuality to it. Like, you can't just have a straightforward slasher.
Right.
But I trust Radio Silence. Is Kevin Williamson involved?
I have no idea.
I forget if he's involved at all with the writing.
I just know like those guys, like Radio Silence too, is their sense of humor 100% works for me. Like the stuff that they've made where there is humor is always extremely funny to me. And
definitely, yeah.
Scream like is so funny to me that I know they'll hit just the right balance that it requires.
And they're nice.
Yeah, and they're also just really nice people.
And like, and not in just a personal way. Their movies aren't mean.
Yes.
And even in VHS, which I know has a lot of fans, I think overall it's kind of a mean movie.
Yeah, a lot of it I was like, I don't love. It just was too.
Yeah, but their segment is not mean.
Their segment is the most wholesome.
It's so wholesome and good.
Because VHS, there's so many segments where there's like weird, like the very opening is like a woman being sexually assaulted in a parking garage, and I'm like, cool, this sucks. But then you get to the radio silence part, and like I forget who's dressed up like a pirate, and they're all wearing these like costumes and just walking around like, hey, we're going to a party, and it's just such a funny change of pace from the rest of that movie that I could see Billy and Stu being like them in VHS, like going to a party. Like I could see Matthew Lillard in.
Also, if you want to do the original Scream 3 thing and bring in Matthew Lillard,
dude, I would be mad.
Do it.
I always want Matthew Lillard in everything.
I think he tweeted about it.
He did. He's like, please
do it. I'm cool with that.
I love him.
Just don't kill Sydney, please, dear God.
Yeah. This one is from Mike. Mike says, hey, Chelsea and James, my son just turned 7 years old and I'm looking to start him on the road to horror. My wife and I have recently started watching the old Goosebumps TV show from my childhood with him. You can cue the catchy theme song, and he can't get enough of it. He keeps asking to watch things like Friday the 13th and Halloween, especially because he's very familiar with my love for the latter, but we haven't been brave enough to let him give it a shot. I know when I was his age, I had at least tried to watch the original It made-for-TV movie, and I remember that experience very vividly, as many of us do. What are your thoughts on getting kids into horror movies earlier than most people would probably suggest? Can you maybe share your earliest horror movie memory? Yeah, I actually just had this discussion on Twitter, but I wanted to bring it up again here because I think it's a really interesting one, and people have a lot of different opinions on it, so...
I mean, we're not parents.
Just
to preface this,
we're not parents, but as a former kid, as you are, also.
I mean, I watched them early. I was scared of Scream. Ran out of the living room when they were watching it into the kitchen. That would have been when I was 7 years old. So, but then shortly after, by the time I was 8 or 9, was when I was like getting into the horror movies and watching them all on my own. It's another individual basis thing.
Yeah, every kid's going to be different. I just think, be in tune and like pay attention to what scares your kid, and don't be the parent that just forces your kid to watch because you think like, well, I've seen other kids handle this fine, or you handled it fine at a certain age. I just think,
and definitely supervised watching. Don't just let them watch it on their own. I don't know if you particularly care about sex scenes or if the violence is more of a concern, but as long as you're there
to explain that that's not real.
That is key.
Explain that it's make-believe. I think if you have a kid who's really like a creative type, maybe learning together about how horror movie makeup works and how effects are done, I think would be a really neat entry point. I just think as long as an entry point for a kid is framed as this is make-believe, this is fantasy, this is people who are, know each other and are playing pretend and wearing costumes, and
it's not okay to do it in real life.
Yeah, and not like this is something real and this could happen to you. This guy, not to like torture your fucking kids with horror movies. I don't know. I just think that if you have maybe a kid who's curious or but every kid's different. Like I was very easily scared as a kid. Later in life, I ended up loving horror movies, but I had to ease into it a little bit later. It just, I think every kid's different. I also don't think if your kid loves this stuff and is really into it and isn't freaked out by it at all. Like we've met plenty of perfectly normal seeming children at conventions, and they're extremely lovely parents who maybe some other people would think, maybe give a side eye, like, is it cool that this little kid knows who, Jason is or is dressing up like a serial killer and going to but I think, I think that's probably an instance again of maybe a kid having a very mature and solid understanding at that age that it's fantasy and not real. And
Yeah.
It's kind of like, we let kids watch superhero movies. They're all beating up on each other.
Yeah.
That, it's all
Kicking the
fantasy.
crap out of each other.
So, I don't know. I think all kids are different, but there's nothing wrong with letting your kid watch that stuff if they want, within reason, I guess.
Yeah.
No cannibal holocaust for the children, please. Yeah, I think that's a good place to stop for this week because we've got some more packing to do.
Yeah.
So I hope you all liked the mailbag. We're gonna do part 2 next week, and I'll have more of your questions.
Yeah. We're done with the apartment for
It's
the podcast.
really weird.
For reals.
For real, not the what was the Deep Rising.
Yeah.
Yeah, this feels a bit more appropriate. So thank you all for supporting what we do. I don't even know what to say. It's such a weird feeling just sending off this place. I mean, all the stuff's coming with us, so it's not that big of a life change, but yeah.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. You can follow Dead Meat on social media at Dead Meat James on Twitter and Instagram, both of which platforms those accounts are yet to be verified.
Yeah, for real. Careback, I would also like to be verified on Twitter and Instagram, CREBECC. And if you want merch, deadmeatstore.com.
It's just because people pay more attention when they see the blue check mark.
It's true.
If we tweet at a director and are like, hey, you want to
Can
come
we
there?
interview you?
They're not going to respond if we don't have a fucking blue check mark. It's dumb,
Yeah.
but that's the way it works.
I want the clout. I want it.
Give us the clout. Also, deadmeatpod@gmail.com, where we got all these lovely questions. We will answer more of them next week. But until then, I'm James.
I'm Chelsea.
And this has been the Dead Meat Podcast.